Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a user named JennaGL in the adultery subreddit. The post is titled, "I found out that my mother is cheating on my father. My mom and dad are both 42 years old and married for 20 years. Well, my notebook broke and I had to do some research for school, so I asked my mom to use hers. She gave it to me and I went to do the research. While I was on the internet, a message appeared and I could read the phrase, 'Hi, love.' I opened it thinking it was my father's, and what I read made me sick. The message is from one of my father's friends. The guy is married and I study with his daughter, so I looked at the history and it has messages from at least 1 year ago, along with photos and videos. It was the most horrible thing I have ever seen in my life. My father takes my mother on dates, treats her very well, helps with chores, and does everything right. I don't understand how she has the courage to do that with him. Well, he is traveling and will only come back tomorrow. I copied everything and saved it to show him. I'm trying to hide my feelings, but I can't look at her without feeling disgust. What I want to know is, how do I do this? Do I show it to both at the same time? Do I show him first and let him solve it? And my friend, her father is cheating too. Do I say something?" A deleted user said, "I'm very sorry for how people are responding to you here. In spite of trying to front as thoughtful, they seem callous and insensitive to your pain as a child. As someone whose father cheated on her mother multiple times, I understand how heartbroken and enraged you are right now. I am so sorry that you found out this way. When I found out about my father, I confronted him directly. My parents are still together. They forgave each other, one for neglecting the other for betraying the first. I wanted to hear his reasons straight from him. I didn't exactly forgive him and I still resent him, but listening to him talk about his vulnerabilities and sadness strangely softened his image in my eyes. It made him human, full of flaws all of a sudden. Right now, I think you're experiencing a realization you weren't ready for, that your mother isn't perfect. I think you should talk to your mom directly first. Confront her if you wish. Listen to what she says. Infidelity hurts people tremendously, including the person doing it. As a daughter, you may not know what's going on between your parents that led to this development in the first place. Demand answers, as is your right as a child. Give her a timeline to bring this to your father's attention. Let her bring it up in front of you. If you do it, there's a possibility that this will go out of control. You need to be aware that this will most likely result in a divorce. Based on what you've written, I'm assuming your father is not a physically abusive man. Still, be careful about his reaction. He will be naturally heartbroken, livid, and lost for a bit. My empathy is with him. Be prepared for the fallout. Just know that you have incredibly sensitive information and you can make the best of this situation or the worst of it depending on how you approach it. If you want to directly talk to me, my inbox is open. Take a moment. Take a deep breath. Everything will be more than fine." User John Meller said, "A couple of things. Don't get involved with the other family, let them deal with it. Remember, it always takes two for a person to cheat. Both your mom and dad own a part of this. Obviously, your mom owns more, but something had to be lacking from your father to lead to this. Often, poor communication is the culprit, or feelings of abandonment, I'm guessing. By telling your father, you open the door to a family split. Be prepared that your parents may divorce. Tell your father first in private and alone. Don't involve other family members. Don't hate your mother. People make mistakes, and remember, it takes two for someone to cheat. Sorry you need to go through this." To this OP said, "My dad doesn't travel much and I don't care if they get divorced. It will be better for him not to live with that jerk anymore." Update. Well, first I would like to thank everyone for the comments. Soon after I created the post, I got in touch with my older brother and told him everything. He was also shocked by all this and said for me to keep calm. He would come to see me. He arrived in the afternoon and I showed him everything, but he was unable to see even half of it. He made a copy to keep safe and stayed at a friend's house so my mom wouldn't suspect anything. The next day, my dad came home from a trip and my brother and I took this opportunity while my mom was working to tell him. I said that I had found something in my mom's notebook and that I thought he didn't know, and then I showed him. He started reading everything and after about 5 minutes, he began to feel sick and vomited. My brother is in medical school, so he managed to calm my father, but he was in shock. We stayed there for an hour and started talking again. I asked him if he knew about this or if they had some kind of agreement, and he said no. I asked him if I was right to show him since this was not my business, and he said yes, that I am part of the family and did the right thing. I asked him if I should tell my friend's mother, but he decided to call her and ask her to come over. She came with my friend, and my father told her everything. She cried so much. She said she had a suspicion that he was cheating but did not know who it was with. She asked me how I found out, so I gave them his IDs, emails, and nicknames, and she went home to look. Later, she came back, and it was the same situation. It started about a year ago, but my mother was not the only one. He has another woman that nobody knows about. I asked my friend for forgiveness for not telling her, but she said that I had nothing to be forgiven for. She understands why I did it. The night my mother arrived, she was scared to see my brother at home. My father asked her about it, and initially she denied everything, but when he insisted, she started crying and told the truth. My mother kept crying, saying that it shouldn't have happened. My dad asked why, and she kept saying it wasn't supposed to be like this, that she didn't want to hurt him, that my father was the only man for her. But she ended up letting herself be carried away by emotion, saying that the other guy meant nothing and that she would eventually stop and tell the truth. She was begging him not to make any hasty decisions and that she would do whatever it takes to show that he is the only man for her. During all this, he didn't say a word. In the end, he took a suitcase and asked if we were going to stay. I said I would go with him. So the three of us went to my uncle's house nearby. He cried all night. I told my brother that I wouldn't live with her even if my dad came back, so he said I could live with him. This morning, she called me to talk. I didn't want to go, but my brother insisted. She said it was never her intention to hurt my father and that she would do everything to be a better wife and mother. She asked how my father found out, and I said that I told him. She asked me how, but I didn't tell her. I said that I hope one day I can forgive her, but not now. I don't want her at my birthday or even at my graduation party. She started crying again, so I left. Some of you say that I see the world in a way that doesn't exist, that not everything is perfect, that I didn't know what my parents' relationship was like, and maybe you are right, I'm just a naive girl who doesn't know how the world works. No matter what you do, you will always end up hurting yourself with a person who does not respect you. You might say I am stupid to think that there will be a person who will like me and will never hurt me, who we will grow old together and die with the same love that we had when we met. I agree that I am stupid to think like that, but after yesterday, I also realized something. The damage that betrayal does. I prefer to die alone than do something like that to someone, but who am I to understand, right? I will not answer anyone because I already discussed a lot in the other post, so I will try to answer some that I think they would ask. Do I regret it? No. Will my father try to reconcile? I don't know, but I don't think so. He already talked to a lawyer about divorce. Here, betrayal counts in favor of my father in the divorce. Why didn't I talk to my mom first? It didn't make sense to do that. First, she had a year to tell the truth. What difference would it make for me to tell her first, so she can confess? Again, what would be useful? It would be a forced, meaningless confession. Sometimes people have to take a slap of reality to wake up for life. Have I always been angry with my mom? No. Until last Thursday, our relationship was perfect. How do I feel about destroying two families? Nothing, because I didn't destroy anything. They did it when they wanted to betray. But what if he is abusive or does not meet her needs? It doesn't matter. If he is abusive, you divorce him. But what about her needs? Okay, but what about his? By that logic, if she is looking for another one, it means that his needs are also not being met, and he did not betray. This next post was made in the entitled parent subreddit by a user named Background Study. The post is titled, "My mom kicked me out Sunday and we had a massive fight. Need to get it out of my system. Hey everyone, so as the title says, I got kicked out on Sunday, and needless to say, it was the worst fight we've ever had. If you want some more context leading up to the fight, check out my profile. I got a text on Friday from my mom saying that we needed to discuss my housing situation and that she wanted me out. She said we would talk more on Sunday since I wouldn't be home until Sunday morning. Sunday rolls around and I was stressed all weekend, obviously really worried about what was going to happen next. I'm a full-time student and work very part-time before school and on Sunday Monday for a few hours, so I'm pretty broke. Sunday comes around and I wait patiently for her to be ready to bring it up, also so I can gauge her mood before we dive into it. I wanted to remain as respectful as possible. Although this came out of the blue, she's still my mom. I was doing the dishes and asked her if she would like me to put away breakfast so I could clean up the pans. She then begins to talk about kicking me out. She asked me where I was going to go in a really condescending tone, which, if I'm being honest, isn't too out of the ordinary. I told her I'm not too sure. I have to find out if my partner can take me in since they still live with their parents. She then goes on about how they would never take care of me, that I'm throwing my life away, I'll wind up pregnant and stuck with a kid I never wanted, how I'll be forced to co-parent with an ex, I'll drop out of school and probably end up on drugs and out on the street. I hadn't said a word yet, and she berated me for a solid 15 minutes. After a while, I'll be honest, I couldn't take it anymore. I told her to shut up, that she's being so immature, and this has always been an issue with her. I told her off. I said how everyone in the house can't stand her. She comes home in a bad mood all the time and takes it out on everyone. It's been like this all my life, but the past few months have been a total nightmare. Everyone walks on eggshells, and no matter how much I try and how much the rest of the house tries, it's never enough. In the middle of me telling her off, telling her how emotionally constipated she is, she tosses her breakfast at me, which was oatmeal, like an angry toddler, proving my point. It goes all over my clothes, and honestly, knowing her, she wanted to throw fists. I don't think she did because now I'm taller than she is, but if I were any younger, I would have been on the floor getting my ass beaten. I've never disrespected my mother like that before, ever, but at that point I knew there was no going back. I told her I'm not going anywhere. I need 30 days legally. She said I don't pay rent, so I can leave today. I reminded her of our agreement. I clean the house, cook dinner 5 times a week, help my sister with anything she needs, and do my mom's lashes on Sundays and whenever she needs her hair touched up. I graduated from aesthetics in February and I'm in school for cosmetology now. She said good luck and that if I really want to stay, I'll have to take her to court. I said it really didn't need to be like that. I just don't understand where the hell she's coming from and what even started all this. I believe part of it is an episode she's going through. She's been in a funk for months. Another reason could be the text messages I sent to my younger sister. My 11-year-old sister sent me a message about how mom was mad at her for not cleaning her room. I politely told her to do what mom says and be nice to her, that she's in a bit of a funk, so just do as you're told. It was polite, honestly. I know mom goes through our messages, so I didn't think there would be a problem. Little did I know. My mom throws a hissy fit after I tell her I have 30 days and leaves after she tosses the damn oatmeal at me. I get mad, start cleaning the mess up, and so does my stepdad. A few minutes later, she comes down and says, "Fine, I have 30 days. But I could not eat any food, I could not have any access to water for showers, drinking, or laundry, and I'd have to sleep in the foyer. I couldn't even sleep on our massive sectional in our living room. I'm angry, I've been angry, and I knew she was using this to make me feel humiliated. She used to do that shit to me as a kid. She wouldn't allow me in my room and would make me sleep in the hallway if I misbehaved. I would maybe get a pillow and a small blanket if I was nice enough. Needless to say, I'm 19 and screw that. I tell her absolutely not and consider me gone. I go upstairs and start packing. As I'm packing, the fight moves upstairs and we're saying shit we can never take back. Since I knew I was never coming back, I said shit that's been bottled up since I was born. I know I should have been better, but I can't explain how awful she started the conversation. She didn't even allow me to be a responsible adult and have a proper conversation. It was immediate insults. Legit, she told me she thought I was an STD when she was pregnant with me, which I don't know what that had to do with the conversation, but alright. Eventually, she went off about how she tried to give me a good life, and I just couldn't see it. That's when I pulled out the card that she always uses. Well, according to you, Mom, no one has a good life. How the hell am I supposed to know what a good life is? Then she bawled, and I felt like shit. Normally, she may cry, but she'll continue, but she just left the room. Needless to say, I felt awful. I know my mom has always tried, but my God, was she verbally abusive all my life, and to my little sisters. Friday night before I left for the weekend, she was going off on my little sister, saying how much she hated her, how she wishes she was never born, how she's like her father, etc., all because she couldn't plan a sleepover in an hour. An hour. She's 11, with no help. I plan on getting my sister out, I promise. I've got to focus on saving myself first. I had to call my partner to get my pet frogs, since my mom said their 2 lights took up too much electricity. They got some of my stuff and helped me before my shift at work that day. Honestly, I am so thankful for my partner. They've been my rock since I was 14, and if it wasn't for them, I don't think I'd still be alive sometimes. They picked me up after my shift at 10 p.m. and took me to their house where I've been staying. We're looking for places, but I'm in school and make shit pay. I refuse to let my mom win. I'm never dropping out. This has been my dream for 5 years. I've busted my ass to be where I'm at, and I refuse to let my mom's words ruin me more than they already have. My mom at one point refused to let me even speak to my sister, which broke me. I've always taken care of my sister, and when COVID happened, we both went online, and I took care of her since then. I always have, but needless to say, I became her mom. Sure, I never paid for anything, but if you ask her, she will tell you I'm her mom. She has said she wishes I was her mom, and I wish the same thing sometimes. I don't want kids because I see her as my kid. She made me a Mother's Day card and picked dandelions in the neighborhood to give to me this year, and it made me cry. I felt so loved and appreciated. I miss her every day, and we can text now, but of course it's not the same. My cat is there as well, and I miss him too. I'll get him once we find a place, but he's safe there in the meantime thanks to my stepdad. My mom hasn't spoken to me since. It's only been my sister and stepdad, but yeah, I'm pretty crushed. I hate how I miss her sometimes. Then I remember it's the idea of her, the idea of a good mom who wants me home. But it's never been like that. I've always been her mom. Even when I was 6, I would tuck her into bed and read her a book. It was me taking care of us. I was her therapist, maid, chef, and childcare provider. I didn't even want to go online for COVID, but she got caught lying to the government about needing money for daycare, so they removed her from the program. Then COVID hit, and magically she wanted me to be online with my sister. I was never allowed to have friends, and when I went to their houses, she would always find a reason to bring me home. Every time I hung out with my partner or friends, I owed her. She expected the house to be completely clean and dinner made before I had any free time with friends. When my partner graduated high school, I wanted to go to their graduation. Well, I forgot to pack my sister's charger for her iPad, and next thing I knew, I wasn't allowed to go because I had one job. This was after I had been busy all day cleaning the house, making dinner, and helping my sister and me with our schoolwork. She wouldn't hesitate to throw her hands on me at all. She would try to humiliate me by sending me to school in ratty clothes or princess dresses in middle school, take pictures of me crying saying she would post them on Facebook, etc. She always found it funny. She would criticize me, which used to make me cry at the slightest bit of critique. I'm much better now, but it's been hard. I would always try to prove myself with the best grades, the best school projects, the best test scores, and just be the best kid I could be. I became extremely emotionally intelligent and can pick up on the slightest mood changes from anyone. When I was little, my mom would tape my favorite stuffed animal on the wall, so when I went to jump for it, I couldn't reach it, which would make me bawl. I was always a big crybaby. Sometimes I still am. She was very quick-witted when it came to insults, probably using what her mother told her and projecting it onto me. During the argument, she said she tried and did her best. She said she fed us, clothed us, kept up with doctor's appointments. I told her kids need emotionally safe parents, and I was so emotionally intelligent because I had to be that for both of us. She said that she tried her best and that she's sorry for never being good enough, which I never said. I told her I saw how hard she tried when I was little and it was just me and her. I'm thankful for her providing for me, even up until now. I said if that's all she got from this, then she needs to grow the hell up. I hate how it all started. I'm so angry still. It feels like forever ago and so recent at the same time. I feel regret and remorse, but I know in my heart I really tried to be a model daughter. I tried to be everything for her, and I wish it had ended differently. I miss my mom, but looking back, I always miss the idea of her. I would lie awake at night crying, wishing I had a better mom and a better life in general, and the resentment for the abuse and neglect piled up and exploded in a day. Nearly 2 decades of shit piled up, essentially. I hope things get better. I hope she gets the help she needs. But she's 42 and she knows better. I know it's not my job to heal her. I've got to focus on healing myself. Sometimes I'll cry and then remember all the damage she gave me, then get fucking heated, which, if I'm being honest, I'm not an angry person. My angry emotions quickly turn into sadness, but this time I feel such betrayal that all I can feel is angry and numb. User Ice Cream Bob said, "Heart goes out to you, girl. You and your sister do not deserve to be in a house like that. I'd say don't even try to talk to your mom after this. Full stop, no contact." To this, OP said, "She apologized yesterday. I may see if I can post the screenshots if you all want an update. I want to stay in contact, simply to get custody of my sister when I can afford it. I'm dirt poor and struggling to get an apartment with my partner. Everything is just messy right now, sadly." User Scout 336 said, "I'm so sorry for all that you're going through. You have excellent goals, and I'm so glad you are making them a reality. Please please keep your priorities straight. You've spent many years observing your mom's behavior. I've been there. I made it my mission to live differently and to be a different parent. Please never lose sight of being you and living your life in ways that make you proud. The first years are hard, but you can do this. You can create a better life for yourself and be a sanctuary for your sister. User Acceptable Weekend said, "Very sorry for what you've experienced, but you wrote about it well. As someone who is 40 years old but still feels like 19 was yesterday and doesn't know where the time went. I would say that you're dealing with a deeply emotionally stunted person who, though she is 42, probably does not have a cognitive capacity much beyond yours. People who are very badly abused end up seeing the world through the age at which they were abused. That trauma guides their entire life. So while this is absolutely not a defense of your mom, I hope it's helpful to realize who you're trying to communicate with. As someone who experienced a lot of medical trauma myself, I have come to understand that the anger I have from that, even as an adult, pervades my thoughts, how I view myself, and inevitably how I act. I say this only to say that I may have some perspective on how your mom thinks. None of that makes the abuse you continue to experience acceptable in any way, shape, or form. Ultimately, she is not going to change. She is likely incapable of doing so, and it most definitely won't happen without therapy, so don't let yourself fall for the emotional guilt trip trying to get you back. You can love and even emotionally support her a little from afar, but the physical distance you are creating is critical for your physical and emotional well-being. I took a semester off from law school, worked on some things in my life, and then went back. It is possible, but is entirely based on your commitment to doing it. I say this because it sounds like your life at the moment would benefit from you taking a semester off, working as much as you can to save up some money, and then going back to school when you have a stable living situation out of your partner's house. Once that's established, you could also petition the court for guardianship of your sister based on your mom's lack of fitness, but one step at a time. Please keep us posted and feel free to vent as needed. To this, OP said, "I would take a semester off. However, my school is not very traditional. There aren't really semesters, you just go until you're done. I have a little less than 4 months left, not counting holiday breaks and missed days. So, needless to say, I'm better off pushing forward. Here soon, I plan on posting a tiny update. I ended up going to my mom's for Thanksgiving and we made a deal regarding her lashes so I can earn $75 every 2 weeks for her bi-weekly fill. In comparison, she would make me clean the house, take care of my sister, make dinner 5 times a week, and do her lashes every Sunday, and would sometimes pay me $75 every other week. I think it clicked for her how much I do for her, but she still hasn't fully acknowledged that yet. Thank you for the advice. I wish taking time off was the best move, but with 4 months left, I can grind it out and finally have a job in my career since I have some plans lined up for myself." Update. I wanted to post my mom's apology that she sent me through text, but I can't seem to upload photos here, so I'm assuming it's not allowed on this subreddit. I'm not sure how to post them elsewhere, so if you know how, please let me know. Needless to say, things have been alright. The first week was emotional hell, to say the least. My partner has been extremely supportive of me, but I ended up deciding to go to the hospital out of fear of hurting myself due to all the stress I was under. My mental health wasn't great to begin with, so when this happened, I just couldn't take it anymore. I admitted myself only to essentially be told I wasn't a direct harm to myself. This kind of blew my mind, considering I've never asked for mental help. My going to the hospital was a dire situation, and they turned me away. That's a whole other story, but to make it short, I waited over 6 hours, was ignored by the hospital staff, and only got to speak with the doctor for 4 minutes. He seemed to have his mind made up before he really spoke to me. It is what it is, you know? A few days before I admitted myself, my stepdad asked me to come over to my mom's for Thanksgiving, which I originally declined even though she apologized. Sure, she apologized, but we hadn't talked in person yet since the fight. It didn't seem right to go, so I declined. After I admitted myself to the hospital and got turned down, I figured that was that. I only told my stepdad I was busy and wouldn't have my phone for a bit, not giving him a reason why. I didn't want visitors and figured the hospital would have me at least for 2 days. Due to what happened with all that, I went home that same night. My mom ended up reaching out, saying if I needed anything to let her know. I waited 2 days and texted her back because honestly, I didn't know what to say and didn't want any issues. She offered me firsthand to come for Thanksgiving, which I ended up accepting because I knew my sister would be there and my cat, whom I was missing terribly. Yes, the jump from a full-blown fight to Thanksgiving like it was nothing wasn't the best decision. I did not go alone. My partner went with me and supported my decision. It went fine honestly, if you don't mind cold, dry turkey, and boxed side dishes. Another reason I went was that she messed up her lashes. She offered me $75 bi-weekly to get them done. Apparently, she bought boxes and boxes of at-home lash extensions, which led to her getting an allergic reaction. Needless to say, that made me feel better because it's funny how she thought she could replace my services that easily, at home no less. It's crazy how I had to do them every Sunday, and now she's content with every 2 weeks for what I'm actually worth. Besides, an extra $150 a month is needed, so I'm willing to swallow my contempt for some cash. I ended up doing her lashes that Saturday after Thanksgiving, and they were a hot mess. Lashes broken or straight up gone, chunks of glue I had to clean off, etc. I did charge her extra, because screw that, don't do that shit at home. We talked during that time. Was it in the serious tone that it should have been? No. But she claimed she didn't truly expect me to leave. She said she just wanted to scare me a bit to ground me again in life. I told her the way she handled it wasn't right. If that was the case, maybe don't send me an eviction text and make me wait an entire weekend before we talk. She made me sit with such anxiety for nearly 3 solid days. Then she started up the conversation. It was done condescendingly, and she never even gave me a chance. I know based on her childhood, she feels that people fight because they care. For me, it shows the opposite. Kicking me out didn't make me feel like she cared. It felt like a power trip, especially trying to make me sleep by the front door. She claimed she would never do that, but I told her even bringing it up made me feel subhuman. This whole conversation was a little too lighthearted. I'm not great with confrontation, but I've come a long way, to be honest. I used to never say anything. Eventually, she asked about why I couldn't have my phone. I came clean, and also because I was bruised from my blood draw. My mom's a phlebotomist, so she noticed my obvious blood draw from my arm. I told her I admitted myself to the hospital because I was too stressed out and worried about hurting myself. She then said how it could go on my record, and I reminded her my record wouldn't matter if I was dead. Before she apologized, she went through my room and packed it up. She found my really awful blue notebook. I only write in it when I'm going through awful situations. There are maybe 4 entries each year. It sucks she went through it, but that's not my problem. I write in there to regulate my situation so I don't hurt other people. I often believe it's not me when I write in there because it's so rare and so upsetting when I do. I refuse to rip out the pages. It's my life, good and bad. If she decided to snoop through my life, that's on her. She said she had no idea I went through so much and that I should have told her. If she had ever made me feel safe, I would have. I wanted to, but she never felt fully safe, so why risk it? If you all want her full apology, tell me where I can post it. It's rough, but adds a lot more context. I also want to know if it even sounds genuine. At first, it did. I didn't even expect her to apologize, and it's good by her standards since she rarely does. Reading back now, I don't think I'm fully happy with it. I asked my partner's parents if I could stay longer and was granted permission for a few more months if really needed. As soon as we can leave, we will. This is very temporary. They're great, but it's not their job to have me here. Together, we're paying $600 per month to stay here. I've helped keep things clean to try and keep peace. Also, because I can't not do something, I always have to be cleaning or doing something. That and to prevent any issues due to being paranoid of having history repeat itself. School is a whole other thing, but it's still going and will be going until completed. Trying to make it for another 4-ish months, then bailing to get a job. It's not the best update. At least with doing my mom's lashes, I can see my sister and cat while making some money, so it's worth it to me for now. Thank you guys for showing your support. It means so much to me. It's been a lot, to say the least, but I know I've got this. My mom offered me the chance to move back, but I have until the 8th to decide. However, I'm not going back. I will go this Saturday to decorate the Christmas tree, but that's mostly to see my sister again. I don't really care about decorating for Christmas, it's never been fun. Mom just complains that it's never right, then moves the bulbs around after we've already placed them. My stepdad took my bed because he's been sleeping either in his man cave or on the couch since last October. Mom doesn't sleep with him because he snores way too loud. So, needless to say, I don't want to come back and throw him back into the man cave. Honestly, other than a few panic moments, I've felt safe here. I haven't felt at risk of being thrown out, I'm talked to like I'm human, and no one makes me feel unsafe or unwanted here. At first, I was scared to even leave the bedroom. I didn't want to feel like a nuisance. The first day, I talked to my partner's mom, and I felt a lot better. I was worried I wouldn't be understood due to how crazy my situation sounded. She's been really sweet, which I really appreciate, to say the least. I ended up cleaning the kitchen really well in the first week to try and show my thanks. Also because I couldn't stop thinking and needed to shut my brain off. I help when I can, it's the least I can do. Anyways, thanks guys for reading. I probably won't post an update for a few months. I hope you all are doing well and happy holidays. This final story was posted in the same subreddit by a user named Marby. The post is titled, "Parents hate my boyfriend and make me feel terrible. My boyfriend and I have been dating for almost a year now. I'm extremely happy with him and he treats me so well. It's been an absolute dream being with him. He's the perfect man and I can't see my life without him. Our relationship has been amazing. A few weeks into us talking, I had a feeling we would become official, so I told my parents about him and also mentioned that he has a son. They were initially stumped and told me they weren't the biggest fans, but they were overall kind about it and said it's my life, so I can choose. I listened to them and kept their opinions in mind, but I decided to continue our relationship. After they realized I wasn't ending things with him, they became much colder and ruder to me. They told me they don't understand why I told them if they were going to say they don't approve while I just decide to continue the relationship. They said they'll never give us their blessing to marry, that they'll never have us at events together, and that they're mourning the death of their relationship with their daughter. They have also told me I'm straining their marriage, that they've sacrificed so much for me to throw it in their face, and made rude comments calling me stepmommy in a condescending tone. Initially, I tried my best to have them meet him and open a conversation about it. I would be open and tell them where I was going with him, if I was staying at his place, or where I got my flowers from. But eventually, they told me they didn't want to hear about it or see him, so I stopped telling them where I was going completely. I spend much less time at home because of the tension, silent treatment, or rude behavior. It feels like a lose-lose situation, telling them everything while trying to find a solution or just leaving them alone. I live with them and am saving up to move out and be fully financially independent. They have already thrown finances in my face, mentioning how they pay my insurance and that I live under their roof, which I agree with. The best thing would be to just move out and eliminate at least one argument they have against me. There is constant tension in the house with them, and whenever we seem okay, it's because I just go straight to work and then home. Every other month we seem to argue about all of this, but I've become tired of it. The arguments are full of harsh remarks and condescending comments about how I make stupid decisions, how I'm ruining the family, and how they'll never accept us and will never attempt to. They've also said that when our family doesn't like someone, they'll outcast them, and that's just how it is. So it's my decision to date him or be part of the family. They then go on to list all the family members they avoid because they don't like them or their partners. My mom also mentions how her personal trauma from having divorced parents will not allow her to accept my relationship or be involved in my life. My parents have an us versus them mentality with the rest of my family and credit their trauma for it. When I have spoken up about how that may not be the healthiest thing and how it makes no sense to love me unconditionally and then treat me differently, I'm just told that's the way our family works. I have tried many times to have a conversation and have been outspoken about how they don't talk to me to actually discuss things. Rather, they just yell at me. I've said I don't feel comfortable at home, that I'm not considered or seen as a person. All of this leads to more yelling, scolding, and bullying. At this point, I know I haven't treated them the best recently because I have built up so much resentment toward them as well. I'd rather not feel this way, but at the same time, I can't try to be happy in the house knowing their kindness and love feel conditional. Any advice would be appreciated. I love my family dearly, but I want to stand my ground for someone I care about and for my own boundaries. I know they want what they think is best for me, but I can't justify this treatment. User Bryson Strife said, "You shouldn't be held down by them. If your heart feels like you should be with your boyfriend, then you should be. Your parents are out of touch, and I also think they are judging this based on the son. They believe that if you can't produce a biological son, then he will be the best they can get. Please don't listen to them. It sounds healthier if you move out and live with your boyfriend. If he treats you like a princess, then you should go to your prince. Don't let them blame you for anything." To this, OP said, "This one made me smile because he does treat me like a princess. He really feels like a dream come true, and his family is amazing too. They've mentioned that the only issue they have with him is because of his son. He's offered for me to move in with him, and it sounds amazing, but I'm going to try to hold off on it for as long as possible, at least to have my own space before I move in with him. But if I absolutely have to, he has always told me I am welcome to." User Where Were the Adults said, your parents are toxic. They told you that when their family doesn't like someone, they outcast them. No, your parents outcast them. That's who they are. That's why they have a list of family members they avoid. I would reach out and get the other side of the story. You may be surprised, you're an adult. As an adult, you get to choose who you date and who you settle down with. As an adult, your parents get an opinion, not a vote. All of this is because they think they have the only vote. They have already played their trump card by threatening to disown you. That is not the punishment they think it is. You will do better without these two trying to control your life. They are not doing what they think is best for you. People like them never do. They are doing what they think is best for themselves. That is a huge difference. User Lawyer Cat said, ready or not, it's time to move out. I was also 24 in love, and my parents hated him. They tried to be cordial at first, but anything I did with him was perceived as a slight against them. My boyfriend was a med student, valedictorian of our high school, and a good friend of mine. My mom even encouraged me to date him at first. Then they realized that he was half Jewish, an atheist, and would not kiss their asses. They also didn't like that I was spending the night at his place because people would know we were having sex. I was 25 years old. One day, my mother got mad at me over something stupid and threw all of my clothes out of my closet and onto the lawn. I called my boyfriend to come get me and moved in with him that day.